There's a New Jersey cardiologist. I will name him. His name is Zayed Yunin.
Okay.
And he racked up $135,000 bill at Scores strip club. Get it? He racked it up.
I got it.
$135,000.
Wow.
Now he went, wait, it gets better. He went 4 times over 10 days.
Okay.
Okay. Now he has not paid this bill because he says he didn't go, but if he did, he must have been drugged all 4 times.
He's trying the Eddie Murphy defense. Wasn't me.
Wasn't me.
I
wasn't there, but if I was drugged.
On all 4 occasions?
All 4 accounts. Now, the wasn't me defense, I wasn't there, not cool, because the club has him on video. He was there.
Most of us assume this is the case.
4 times. 4 times. 4 times. And I guess is refusing to pay this tab or is trying to get out of it. I thought we'd go to the source on this, and the source is not Zayed Yunin, but the source is Scores. And we're lucky enough, we've got not just anyone from Scores. We've got the Scores COO. That's right. Scores has a COO. His name is Mark Yakow, and he joins us now. Mark, welcome.
Thank you.
So this guy's a tool, obviously, but my first concern is, you videotape people there?
Oh, no, what we do is we have cameras, of course, cameras throughout the club, a lot of it on the point-of-sale system, making sure everything is being rung up, and within certain areas of the club. They're not in any of the champagne/private rooms.
I would assume
that
not,
would, Mark, that was on my list of questions to ask you, actually. So we do not need to operate under the premises that there are cameras in the champagne room?
Absolutely. Then it wouldn't be a private room.
Right. So what are you going to do to get this guy? Because obviously, the evidence is pretty clear in your favor.
Yeah, we tried to, we discussed it with American Express, and they had the right to, not pay us. So we took the legal route of suing him. We tried to reach out to him and say, listen, come in, look at the video. You're here. You got 4 or 5 girls around you. You have our general manager. I also just recently found out that one of our security guys that, works the area and makes sure everything's okay, he had just called me the other day when he saw the story. He wasn't aware of all this. And he said to me, that's interesting. When he went out a few times to go to the bathroom, he was talking to me. He even invited me to go to a Giant football game with him and gave me his cell number.
Sounds drugged.
Yeah, very, very. I mean, listening to you, when I was listening to you talk, I was saying to myself, I started to laugh. I said, who would believe something like this?
No one.
But his story was these girls came to either his apartment or a hotel room.
What?
They drugged him, took his credit card, took his passport, because we have copies of everything, and had a party there.
What?
Without him, and of course,
4 times?
4 times. Yes.
4 times. Hey, Mark, how does one rack up a $135,000 bill?
And be specific.
And by the way, just like it was 4 different dates, but one date went into the other, like it was before midnight to the other. So it was really 3 physical days he was here.
Okay.
But how it happens is, and it wasn't on the liquor, and it wasn't. We have separate charges for everything. If you're having,
did he order 1,000 steaks?
No.
Okay.
He had 5 to 7 girls in the room for 4 or 5 hours.
That'll do it.
That's where all the bulk of the money goes to the entertainers. It wasn't the alcohol. It wasn't the room. And the other thing, just the way we do our procedure here is, we don't give someone a bill at the end of the 5 hours or 4 hours or 3 hours. Every hour or every half hour that he renews a transaction, the amount of money he gives the girls, he signs for.
Oh, so you try to help the consumer get out of his own way. Like we're going to give you a chance to stop and walk away now. And you keep giving that consumer the chance over the hours because you don't want someone at the end of 5 hours saying, oh, I didn't know how much I was racking up.
Exactly. Just like you've been there.
Well, in fact, I have.
So 4 or 5 hours, Mark. 4 or 5 hours. Let me ask you this. I'm full of curiosity now. What's the biggest bill you've seen racked up in your time at Scores?
Almost $250,000.
Was that a famous person?
No, to me he was. It was over one night. And
in one night?
Yeah.
Now, how do you
What
do
a
that?
colossal
Was that
waste of
length of
money.
time? That was number of girls and length of time? So he had that private room again, like you're talking about, for like 10 hours or something?
5-6 hours, but again, he might have closed on a big deal. They tip, on top of paying them their normal fee. They tip, and they tip the staff. And spending, as this doctor did, an average of between $30,000 and $50,000 each night is not unusual.
Now,
It's
let me
not-
ask you.
doesn't
But
happen-
let me
doesn't
ask you
happen all the
this:
time, but it's not unusual. Yeah.
How often do angry wives come in trying to catch their guy in the action? Do you see a lot of that?
Never.
Never. Come on.
No, never.
How
Wow.
often do people make it rain?
It's interesting because our club in New York is much more of a gentleman's club. It's more upscale. It's more people sitting in the champagne getting lap dances on the floor or in the champagne rooms. We have about 20 of them there. But it does happen on a weekend night. You get a lot of couples, a lot of individual guys that sit around the stage and, make it rain on dollar bills.
So the New York is upscale compared to what?
We consider ourselves an upscale gentleman's clubs. There are a lot of other clubs that we consider, are more strip clubs.
Right. Listen, I can help
they
you out
don't
with
have-
this, Mark. I know. I have friends, right? So
You know people?
I mean, there might have been. I've heard of BYOB strip clubs. So
Right.
like outside
What's
of Waco, Texas,
BYOB?
bring your own beer.
Oh.
So
like
there are
BYOB.
definitely upscale and downscale strip clubs. That's clear.
Absolutely.
Okay, and
Now,
Scores is upscale.
So on that note, and since we brought up the idea of famous people, Mark, who's the most famous person you've kicked out of Scores?
Well, that I can tell you. The one thing we pride ourselves on, and you'll probably never see us in the paper, when a celebrity comes in and they're having a good time and spending money, we make sure they stay out of the paper. Because
Discretion.
once you put them in the paper, absolutely.
But
They
you will
won't
get
come
in the
back, they
paper
won't
if
feel
you refuse to pay a $135,000 bill and say that you were drugged.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you will.
That's all of a sudden you guys are ready to talk.
Absolutely. And it's funny. He has what we've heard through this. He has, as a cardiologist, he has a twin brother and a dad who are cardiologists at the same hospital as him. And the question was asked to me, do you think they're aware of, him being sued? I said, now they are. They're aware of it now.
Yeah.
So they went to try to interview them. And of course, I think the dad said in the paper, my son is, 40 years old, single, and he goes to the city a lot. I don't know what he does. And that was their response.
Let me ask you this, Mark, on a very serious note. Do you have a list of pre-approved names that the girls can select from? Do you have editorial authority over the names?
Right, or do they come up with their own?
There's a lot of
Yeah.
spice genre and flower genre names I encounter. So I'm wondering if they're selecting from pre-approved list.
No, they come up with their own name. That's their, they use their imagination, and sometimes they'll change it. They said, didn't work for me this time,
Oh, like tonight I was cinnamon. It didn't go so well. Tomorrow night I'll be curry.
Absolutely. They come up with names of cars also. You always see a Mercedes, a Porsche.
Oh, God. The psychological effort that must go into
Absolutely.
figuring out what a guy will respond to with the name and the outfit and the dance and the banter. I mean, it is an art, man.
It's interesting. There was a young lady that was from the Midwest, and she was, I forgot her dance name at the time. I said, you should call yourself Dorothy, from the Wizard of Oz. And
Nice.
she started doing that, and she said, it's working.
Mark, you are not just a COO. You are a talent manager.
I wish.
Mark, we appreciate you joining us today. This is a fascinating story. We hope it works out. We hope justice is served. Let's put it that way. Whatever's the right side on this case, we hope justice is served.
Well, I appreciate it.
Thanks,
thank
Mark.
you
Hey,
for
listen,
having me on.
call in anytime.
Yeah, we got
By
more
the way,
questions.
I'd like to make an invitation to you. I'd love you to come to the club and see what it's all about.
I'm happy to come again.